So today we just watched the D&D Direct, and we learned all the awesome things that are coming to D&D. So we are going to be kicking things off here, but first I wanted to introduce my lovely guest for today. So kicking things off, Fred, who are you? Tell us all about it.
Well, you already know who I am. I'm Fred Wheeler. I run the How to D&D YouTube channel, and I talk about Dungeons and Dragons and RPGs.
Alrighty, and AJ, tell us about yourself.
I am a professional Dungeons and Dragons sage that produces content on YouTube full time, and yeah, very interesting to this new slew of announcements that Wizards of the Coast have put out this morning about 4 o'clock. I was up watching 4 o'clock in the morning. I was up watching this along with I was on Dungeon Dad's live stream, and we're making lots of funny comments, which I hope will be lost to time.
Hopefully. And if you don't know me, I am no fun allowed, and contrary to my name, I sometimes allow fun. So we are going to be kicking things off here. We're diving into the jamming of the spells, the Spelljammer. The Spelljammer confirmed. It's finally no longer a meme. It is reality. So kicking things off here, AJ, Spelljammer, do you like it? Yes, no, maybe so.
Yes.
Good. Fred, Spelljammer, yes, no, maybe so.
Yes, I like Spelljammer.
Alrighty. I like Spelljammer too. Next question. So, Spelljammer, for those of you that don't know, is one of the old campaign settings that is the mix of the sci-fi and the fantasy, where you hop on your space galleon and sail the astral seas and going to awesome places and do various things. And it has been this long-running meme in the community for some time now that we're going to get a Spelljammer thing. But Spelljammer's got a very beautiful history to it, I believe, anyway. I really like the setting. I really like the adventures to be found therein. And as you can see there in AJ's little dimension there, you see there's a whole bunch of fantastic books. So, yeah, kicking things off for realsies, AJ, so what are your thoughts about Spelljammer's return and its history and all that fun jazz?
Okay, so first of all, Spelljammer hasn't gone anywhere. It's been around it was published 33 years ago. 33 years ago. So all of this stuff here, none of these are original printings. These are all stuff that you can get from D&D Beyond in hard copy print. Most of them are collections of books that were originally just supplements that were very hard to come by. At the time that they put out Spelljammer, they produced a lot of other settings at the same time, and it was kind of lost in the slew of new setting options that people had. So Spelljammer fandom was a niche even when Spelljammer first came out. So it's never been a majorly popular driving force of the hobby. It's always been side content for wacky games. It's supposed to be humorous. It's supposed to be oddball and crazy and not really conform with canon and just whatever sort of harebrained ideas you have for a planet made entirely out of donuts, or a planet which is just a solid sphere of rock with big spaces in it that everybody live in and things like that. That's the sort of stuff. That's where you would go with, if it wasn't Planescape, it was Spelljammer for really strange, weird alien settings. So if you didn't like Planescape, but you wanted craziness, Spelljammer was the way to go. Also, there's been a major change to the way that they've handled space travel and the location that Spelljammer is taking place. So they've dropped the idea of the Phlogiston Sea and the worlds of all the different world settings being inside these crystal sphere things and stuff. I'm not entirely sure whether they're going to retain crystal sphere ideas or not, but they've transitioned it to the astral sea, the astral plane, which I predicted they would do because there was a lot of hints to that in the Baldur's Gate intro video with the teleporting Nautilus ship and things like that. So it's 100% on track with what I thought Spelljammer would be for 5th edition. So I'm happy with this.
Alrighty. Fred, you happy about all this fun jazz? Do you not care? Do you not even know about Spelljammer?
Well, I ran a 4th edition Spelljammer campaign. And if I really wanted to, I could have run a 5th edition campaign.
It was actually illegal until this book comes out. So.
That's right.
I don't care. I don't care. Who would look? I think the idea of adding Spelljammer to 5th edition makes an awful lot of sense, but it's not like we couldn't have done other stuff. I mean, there are certain things that people would have probably struggled with when that's the creation of, how a ship's going to work, and they might want a stat block, or for when they're engaging in ship-to-ship battles or stuff like that. Or some of the a lot of the monsters don't have stat blocks for them until now. This book is coming, but it's not actually a book. As you foretold, Trevor, it is a box set. There's 3 books. And I'm like, hang on. So now you have to buy the 3 books, the double-sided poster map, and is it a Dungeon Master screen? And one of the books is the player Dungeon Master source book. One is a monster manual, essentially, and another one is the adventure, right?
Yes.
That sounds really expensive. I had heard in the grapevine that the books are only 64 pages long. And I was like, hang on, my maths, 64 plus 64 plus 64, that's a lot smaller than their standard book when you get one book. What the heck is going on?
Yeah, you're paying 50 cents a page, pretty much. That's a lot.
Yeah, I think that it gets a little bit concerning that they have decided to go with the 3-book model. Doesn't bother me quite so much. It sounds to me like it's a paperback rather than a hard copy. And if Wizards of the Coast, if anybody knows what Wizards of the Coast hardback books are like nowadays, they're really bad. They're not very good. They're not made very well. So I can just imagine what a paperback book will be like.
The pictures I'm looking at look hard.
Hasbro has just secured a massive stockpile of paper because of its past mistakes with the supply chain and stuff like that. So they're actually pretty good with their printing plans. I think they've learned their lesson.
Yeah, it's just the construction of the book. It's not so much the quality of the pages; it's the construction of their books have been very well.
I've been a supporter of, sorry to argue about this point, but I've been a supporter of Palladium books for a very long time. They've been softcover publishers from the very beginning when it was quite controversial back in the day. That has stood the test of time. I've had that book for 25 years and played the hell out of it, and it's still absolutely fine. So hardcover is not a big selling point for me.
So to give you my perspective is not, I don't have an issue with soft cover because I'm quite happy to get a soft cover from Kobold Press. I'm not so happy about the idea of getting a soft cover from Wizards of the Coast. Just because they're hard covers.
So it's a premium, so it's an elitist sort of thing for you.
Well, no, it's just the fact that I don't really want to buy a product that is going to be garbage. And they don't make their books very well. So I'm a little concerned that, at least the hardcover, there was a better chance it might hold together. And I've repaired my hardcovers. It's actually not as difficult as a soft cover. There's a lot more damage that can occur to a soft cover. Whereas I literally, I've rebound books before myself. It is a little bit time consuming, but you can do it.
And expensive, yeah.
Well, yeah, I did it myself, and it's complicated. But that's I guess the biggest thing is it doesn't feel like I'm necessarily getting as much. The only redeeming feature with the Spelljammer thing is they have released the Monstrous Compendium for free.
Yep.
And volume 1, you get 10 monsters.
Have it open right now.
And my understanding is that every month there'll be another volume of monsters that is released. Now, I don't know if that's going to be tied to you get it free every single month, or whether that's tied to microtransactions, which I'm a little bit worried about, because that tends to be what corporations do, is micro transactions.
It's 100% going to be microtransactions because Wizards of the Coast has just bought D&D Beyond and they're ramping up their digital platform to sell products.
Yeah.
So let's not even fuck around. It's going to be revenue.
I'm personally waiting for loot crates and loot boxes. You open it up. Hey, I got a new monster variant. Cool.
Yeah.
So now we're looking at the era of 5th edition where you can buy a product solely electronically. There will be no hardcover, or softcover. There will be no book, just a PDF or something like that you can get on D&D Beyond.
So yeah, I guess that's the thing that concerns me, is that the first one will be free, and then after that the first enticements is like get a taste, and then now we're going to charge you. And
hey kids,
And
Look
really,
what we have.
I think the Monstrous Compendium is going to be utilised to try to sell the box Spelljammer set for most of that section of the year. You know, as we lead up to its release, it's like, here's more monsters, but you've got to pay a little bit or a price for it, and then you'll get the full. You can buy the full box set, which I don't even know how much it's going to be.
It's
frankly.
listed 70 US.
Oh shit! So it's going to cost us a lot. Yeah.
100, yeah, that's yeah. The exchange rate is not kind.
I mean, just stop not being in the US. It's that easy.
Yeah. It's true. My concern was the Dungeons and Dragons. I was just discussing with you guys earlier. Dungeons and Dragons, Wizards of the Coast buying D&D Beyond. About time, honestly. Is that there's a couple of resources on the site which are really, really good. One of them is that I have my access to D&D Beyond unlocked, so I can review anything as soon as it's produced, which is great. You know, as a professional YouTube sage, that's a resource that is very, very good. Also prevents me from pirating everything and getting it that way, because my bookshelf is very full already. I don't necessarily need Strixhaven's Guide to whatever. Anyway, but my main concern is the homebrew section of D&D Beyond. See, when Wizards of the Coast bought D&D Beyond, they're essentially buying all of that content as well. They then own all of that homebrew content that people have been putting on there. So if those of you who don't use the D&D Beyond website for producing monster stat blocks or converting old edition stuff to new edition stuff and aren't aware of the massive trove of information that is there for you as a resource, it's mind-boggling. Just go in there, go into the search function, look for some really obscure monster from something that was published over 33 years ago. Somebody will have made a conversion of it. So I'm going through like the Pearl Dragon and the Jade Dragon and Aurium Dragon and stuff like that. There's conversions for all of it in there, and some of it's crap, some of it's half done because it's a working platform, but some of it is very, very good, including all of the stuff that I produced on there. So yeah, that's my main concern. Is I'd like some reassurance from Wizards of the Coast directly that they're not going to do anything with that. They're not going to delete all that content, or they're not going to turn around and make some restrictions on its use or whatever.
I'm actually curious about that because I haven't perused it. When you sign up for D&D Beyond, do you sign away your rights?
Anytime that you are signing up to a website and you produce any sort of creative content, assume that's the case. Okay,
because I was curious if this is going to be like a Dota thing where
I'm not so concerned with people like claiming that that was their version of a thing, because really you're producing fan content on a fan website. So I mean, it's got no value outside of that itself. But if you're producing original monsters and putting their stat blocks up on there, it's under the understanding that you've now produced open license content that anybody can use. It's not yours anymore. Pretty much. I mean, stuff gets pirated, but doing that is essentially just handing over free content to people, which is fine. Like, I don't charge for all the homebrew monsters and stuff that I produce. My main concern is that is just the loss of that. If Wizards of the Coast decides that it's problematic, that it may cause issues, they could easily just wipe it all, which would be a terrible tragedy.
For sure. So back to Spelljammer.
Right.
So my thoughts on Spelljammer is I actually like the box set approach of getting books, because what I think is going to happen is you're going to get the nerds that want the full thing, and that's fine. But more importantly, you're going to get the nerds that don't need the full thing, because not everyone runs the published adventure module. Not everyone needs the new supplements. Some people just want new monsters, and then you mix and match. And I think that's where it's really going to shine. And that makes me think that might be the business model from here on out, where they come out with a new adventure, or not new adventure, but just new setting. Then it's going to be a 3-parter or maybe even 4-parter, depending on how crazy they want to get with it, right? And I think that's a decent approach. And me personally, also, I like Spelljammer.
I really like this idea of them turning what was originally a transitive plane, so a place that you go to get somewhere else, and turning it into the location itself. So that was my problem with the phlogiston. The phlogiston was this big empty space where some disaster could happen to your ship, and then you get stranded there, and everybody dies of starvation, or they run out of oxygen, unless something crazy happens that the DM has shoehorned in there. And so the phlogiston was kind of useless as a space. It was pretty and interesting and weird, but it was kind of weird, like just as a role-playing tool. But I like the idea of turning the astral sea or the ethereal plane into a location in and of itself, because you've got limitless free real estate. You can put literally anything into the ethereal plane or the astral plane because they are realms of imagination and memory. So yeah,
absolutely.
What I would be interested in is the plane of dreams, like the dream planes and stuff, with the color wall of the deep ethereal plane. Well, that separates the border from the deep ethereal plane. How closely they're cleaving to the original sort of structure of the ethereal plane that they had in earlier editions. Because I think losing that dream aspect would be a big loss. But also, I don't think they really put enough attention into that originally. So it could do with a rework. And I've got no problem with Wizards of the Coast advancing the settings and creating radically new stuff. Because as I say, it's been 33 years since Spelljammer was published. The audience is now an entirely new generation. It's a multi-generational product. So yeah, I have sympathy for the people who loved Spelljammer in its original form, but you still got it. You don't need a republishing of this shit. You don't need it. You never have. So this new product is for new audiences, or it's for people who are supporting the company financially, no matter what they produce, because if you run the company into the ground and don't give them any money, you won't get any new products. So it's better to support something that you're not particularly fond of in order to get some influence and say, hey, I'm a paying customer. Could I have this next? And that's probably the better track.
Yeah. Wizards of the Coast cannot ruin your D&D because your D&D is whatever you make it out to be. Your D&D is in your hearts and minds and in the old ass books on your shelves.
Yeah.
So,
however, if they're producing only digital content on their new digital platform, they can delete that. So they can literally come in and burn your bookshelf of books that you've paid for at any time.
So save a hard copy somewhere.
Yeah. So if you want to charge me the same amount of money for a PDF as for a print copy, that I have no control over that unless I make a pirated copy and download it onto my computer and you never touch it. Yeah, that's a concern. That's a concern.
Alrighty. Well, I can't wait to run my players through the Astral Sea where they'll be swashbuckling with space clowns and dealing with beholder asteroids and whatever else. Go ahead and tell us what you think about the Spelljammer. Are you looking forward to it? Do you even know what it actually is? Go ahead and tell us down below because I would love to hear it.
All right.
You're on, baby.
What are my extremely elaborate questions I've wrote down this time? Oh, that's right. You got to understand, I put in so much time, money, and effort into my critical thinking and everything that I do.